The girl in the glass cage. The market was loud and hot. People walked by with bags, food, weapons, and in fear. This was not a place for kindness. It was a place where people were bought and sold. And at the very end of the market, under a dull, red light, was a clear glass cage. Inside that cage sat a girl. She looked young, maybe 20. Her skin was smooth but pale, as if the sun never touched her. Her hair was long but dirty. Her arms were thin, her back straight. But her eyes were empty. No one knew her real name. A small tag above her cage said, Personal Unit 9, trained, returned, silent. People passed her cage every day. Some laughed, some pointed, others shook their heads. She had been here for weeks. No one bought her. They said she was broken, a waste of money. She didn't move. She didn't speak. She didn't hope. Then one day everything changed. A man named Jarek walked into the market. He was human. He wore old boots and a torn jacket. His hair was messy and his eyes tired. He had traveled far. He had only one coin in his pocket. He didn't plan to buy anything. He just wanted a place to rest, maybe a warm meal. But as he walked through the market, something pulled his eyes to the glass cage. He stopped. The girl was still sitting there, unmoving. But for 1 second, just one, her eyes met his. Something deep inside Jarek froze. He felt something heavy in his chest. He didn't know her, but he couldn't look away. And then, something strange happened. The girl blinked. The traitor behind the cage noticed. He laughed. She moved for you, the alien said. That's rare. She doesn't even cry anymore. Jarek stepped closer. Who is she? No one, the traitor said. She was taken years ago, cleaned, trained, sold 3 times, all returned her. Now she just sits there, she's just a thing. Jarek frowned. She's not a thing. The traitor shrugged. Call her what you want, but it costs 1 coin to take her. Non-refundable. Jarek slowly took the last coin from his pocket. He looked at it, then back at her. The girl looked away as if trying to hide. He could walk away. Save the coin. Eat. But he didn't. Jarek placed the coin on the table. The traitor laughed again. Your choice, human, no returns. The glass door unlocked with a soft hiss. The girl didn't move. Jarek stepped in and slowly knelt before her. You're free now, he said quietly. She blinked again. Her lips moved, but no sound came. He took off his jacket and placed it around her shoulders. She flinched at first, like she expected pain. But Jarek's hands were gentle. Can you walk? He asked. She looked down at her legs, then nodded a little. They walked out of the cage together. The market grew quiet as they passed. People stared. Some laughed. Some looked away. Some whispered. But Jarek didn't care. He kept walking, holding her steady. In the shadows, someone else watched, a tall alien with yellow eyes and black armor. He turned and disappeared into the crowd, pulling out a comm device. She's been taken, he said into the speaker. The voice on the other end growled. By who? A human. Alone. Poor. The voice was silent for a moment. Follow them. Back in the quiet alley behind the market, Jarek sat the girl down on a low step. He gave her water. She sipped slowly as if she had forgotten how to drink. What's your name? He asked gently. She looked confused. Then she shook her head. No name. She hesitated, then whispered, Unit 9. No, Jarek said. That's not a name. That's what they called you. He thought for a moment. Then he smiled. How about Riven? The girl looked at him. He smiled again. It means survivor where I come from. Her lips moved again. This time a small sound came out. Riven. He nodded. Yes, that's your name now. For the first time in years, the girl, Riven, felt something warm in her chest. It was small, quiet, but it was there. Hope, but far behind them. In the dark alleys. The hunter followed. and Riven's past wasn't ready to let her go so easily. The night air was cold, but Riven didn't feel it. She kept touching the edge of the jacket around her shoulders. It was soft, warm, and kind. Kindness was new. She sat beside the human who gave his last coin for her. He didn't speak much, just stared at the stars above the broken rooftop. His name was Jarek, and he hadn't even asked for anything in return. No orders, no demands, no collar, just silence. And for some reason, she felt safe in it. Jarek finally turned to her. "You don't have to be scared," he said. "You're not property anymore." Riven looked at him. "Then, what am I now?" Jarek thought for a second, then gave a soft smile. "Free. Just like me." Her fingers trembled. "I don't know how to be that." Jarek didn't answer right away. He reached into his old bag and pulled out a stale biscuit. He broke it in half and offered her a piece. She looked at it like it was made of gold. No one had ever shared food with her before. Not without strings. Riven took the piece slowly, chewed, swallowed. Tears touched the corners of her eyes. Elsewhere, in the rusted control room of the slave district, the trader who sold Riven was being yelled at by a thick-voiced alien on a screen. "You fool, do you know who she was? She didn't speak for weeks. She's useless." "She's not useless," the voice hissed. "She was hidden. Then why didn't you say?" "Because that girl carries something priceless. If the humans find out what's inside her..." The screen went black. Back in the alley, Riven leaned against the wall and closed her eyes. She dreamed of strange things. Running in forests. A voice calling her name. Not Unit 9, but something else. Older, softer. Vera. Was that her real name? Or just a dream? She woke with a small cry. Jarek was still sitting beside her, watching over her like a guard dog. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded but looked unsure. "They'll come for me." Jarek's hand curled into a fist. "Then they'll have to go through me." She looked into his eyes. He meant it. No one had ever meant it before. Morning came. The two of them walked through a quiet section of the city. Jarek had a plan. Find transport, leave the planet, start new. But at every corner, he felt eyes, alien eyes, watching. Riven whispered, "We're being followed." He didn't ask how she knew, he believed her. Suddenly, they turned down a back street, only to find 3 figures waiting for them. Tall, armored, weapons drawn. "Return the property," one of them said, his voice deep and cold. "She's not property," Jarek said, standing in front of her. "You don't understand," the alien hissed. "That girl carries a memory vault, one hidden inside her mind, a royal one. She doesn't even know." Jarek blinked. "What?" "She's not just a slave. She's a container." Riven stepped forward, voice shaking. "I don't want to." "Go back." The alien raised a weapon. "Then we'll take you by force." Jarek moved fast. Too fast for a human. He pulled out a small flash bomb from his coat and threw it. Light exploded. Riven screamed. The alien staggered. Jarek grabbed her hand and ran. They ducked into a sewer tunnel. Riven breathed hard, panicking. You didn't leave me." "Why would I?" Jarek said, holding her close. "You're not alone anymore." She buried her face into his chest. For the first time, she let herself cry. Not because she was weak, because she felt alive. "Above. Ground," the alien soldier growled. "We lost them." "Then find them again," the other snapped, "before she remembers who she is." Deep in the tunnel, Jarek lit a small lantern. Riven sat quietly, staring at the flame. "Do you believe what they said?" she asked. "About the memory vault?" She nodded. "I don't know," Jarek said. "But even if it's true, you're still you. Not a tool. Not a vault." She looked at him, confused. "Then what am I to you?" He smiled. "You're someone worth fighting for." Riven sat near the dim fire in the old sewer tunnel, her knees pulled to her chest. Water dripped from above, echoing softly. But her heart was louder. beating hard, fast, scared. She kept hearing that voice in her head. You're just a thing. You belong to me. Jarek was a few steps away, checking his datapad. He was looking for the next train out of the city, far away, to a place where no one would ever call her a slave again. Riven watched him quietly. He had risked everything for her. He didn't even know her real story, and still, he stayed. She wanted to ask why, but her voice still felt broken, stuck in her throat. Then, a loud bang. The tunnel's metal door burst open with a crack. Footsteps, heavy, fast, marching. Jarek jumped up, blaster in hand. Riven, get behind me! But she couldn't move. The shadows formed into a tall armored figure, black metal, glowing red visor, the same man from her nightmares. He stepped closer, removing his helmet. Riven's face turned pale. It was Commander Driven, the one who had first bought her, the one who gave her the scars, the one who sold her again when she refused to obey. He was back. I told them, he said in a low voice. I told them I'd find you. Jarek raised his weapon. Stay back. Drevon chuckled. You think I'm afraid of you, human? I trained her. I owned her. And now you're trying to play hero? She's free. Jarek growled. She's not your property. Drevon's eyes burned. You think she wants to stay with you? Look at her. She's shaking. She knows who she really is. She was made to serve. Riven closed her eyes. The words stabbed deep. She had believed them once too. But Jarek didn't move. He kept his weapon pointed at Draven, his voice steady. She's more than what you made her. Draven snarled. She belongs to me. Then Riven stood. Her body trembled, but her voice when it came was clear. No, she said. Both men looked at her. Draven frowned. What did you say? Riven took a step forward. Her voice was louder now. Stronger. I don't belong to you. Not anymore, not ever again. Drevon's face twisted in rage. I gave you everything. I fed you, trained you. You broke me, she said. But I'm still standing, and I choose him. She stepped beside Jarek and took his hand. I'm not Unit 9, I'm not a thing, I'm Riven. Draven lifted his blaster. Then die with him, he fired. Jarek pulled Riven down. The blast hit the wall behind them. More footsteps echoed. In the tunnel. Draven wasn't alone. 2 more soldiers entered, armed and ready. Jarek fired back. Sparks flew. The tunnel became smoke and screams. Run! Jarek yelled, pushing Riven forward. But instead of running, she grabbed a loose pipe from the wall. And then she turned to fight. She hit one soldier hard, straight across the head. He fell. Jarek covered her from behind, firing at the other. Draven charged. Jarek wrestled with him. The two locked in brutal struggle. But Riven grabbed the blaster from the fallen guard and aimed. Her hands shook. She didn't want to kill, but she wasn't going to lose Jarek. She took a breath and fired. The blast hit Draven in the shoulder. He roared in pain, then fell back, defeated. Silence. Jarek stood there, breathing hard, blood on his arm. You okay? He asked. Riven didn't answer right away. She stared at the weapon in her hand. I was always afraid, she said quietly. But not today. He smiled through the pain. You were amazing. She dropped the weapon and hugged him tightly. I'm tired of running. He looked into her eyes. Then let's stop running. Let's start living. She nodded, but far away, in a dark ship orbiting the planet, another screen lit up. She fought back. A deep voice said. The scout on the screen nodded. Yes, she hurt Draven, protected the human. There was a pause. Then she's waking up. The vault inside her is active. It's only a matter of time. What should we do? The deep voice answered. Send the reclaimers. She doesn't know what she carries, but we do. The city shook as ships filled the sky. Their black wings spread wide like giant birds of prey. People on the streets looked up, pointing, running, screaming. But those ships weren't here for, or they were here for one girl. Deep in the lower city, Jarek dragged Riven through a narrow alley. His arm was bleeding, and smoke was rising behind them. The fight with Commander Draven had drawn attention. Too much. They sent reclaimers, Jarek said, voice tight. Top-level hunters, no mercy, no warning, just capture or kill. Riven looked up at the sky. Her body ached, but her heart beat stronger than before. They're coming for me, she said. Jarek stopped. Then we run, as far as we can. Riven didn't move. Her eyes locked on a flashing light above, one of the ships lowering fast. No, she whispered. Not far enough. In a hidden control room, a cold metallic voice echoed. Target acquired. Memory vault signature confirmed. Do not harm her, said the leader of the reclaimers. The vault must remain intact. A second voice added, and the human? A short pause. If he gets in the way, erase him. Jarek pulled Riven into an abandoned train station. The power was flickering, the tracks dusty. Old signs in alien languages hung crooked on the walls. This way, he said, pointing to a hidden tunnel entrance. Smuggler's route. It'll take us beyond the city walls. Riven followed, but her hands began to glow faintly. A soft blue light shimmered across her skin. Jarek noticed. Riven, what's happening to you? She looked down at her hands, scared. I don't know. It started after I shot Drevan. The glow grew stronger. I feel like I remember things. But they're not mine. Cities I've never seen, people I've never met. A golden palace with my name on it. Jarek stopped walking. Palace? She nodded slowly. I think I was someone important before they made me a slave. Suddenly the wall behind them exploded. Dust filled the air. Riven coughed and fell. Jarek turned, weapon ready, but it was useless. 4 reclaimers entered the tunnel. Their armor was black as night, eyes glowing white. No words, no emotion, just hunters. Riven tried to crawl back. I can't go back in a cage. Jarek stood between her and the reclaimers. You won't. They fired. Jarek jumped aside, pulling Riven into a side shaft. Sparks flew. The tunnel cracked. One beam collapsed behind them, blocking the reclaimers for a moment. Riven's heart pounded. We can't outrun them forever, she said. I know, Jarek replied, but I didn't save you just to lose you now. They climbed a ladder and burst through a grate onto a rooftop. Wind slammed into their faces. Below, the city was chaos, people fleeing, sirens screaming. Above, the reclaimer ship circled. They'll spot us, Riven said. Then we jump, Jarek replied. She looked down. That's 4 stories, he took her hand. Do you trust me? She didn't even think. Yes, they ran. At the edge of the roof, they jumped, falling, wind, heart-stopping speed, and then crash. They landed hard on the back of a delivery, truck filled with cargo. The driver screamed and swerved, but Jarek yelled, Keep driving. The truck sped off. Behind them, one of the reclaimer ships turned sharply and gave chase. Inside the cargo hold, Riven gasped for air. Her hands glowed. Again, but this time she didn't feel afraid. She felt something unlocking inside her. Jarek, she said softly. I remember my real name. He looked at her. It's Vera Len, daughter of the lost house. I was hidden during the war. They erased my mind to protect the vault. And now it's waking up, Jarek said. She nodded. And they want it. The ship roared above them. But they can't have me, she whispered. Then she reached out, and for the first time, energy sparked from her fingertips. In the skies, the reclaimer ship locked onto the truck. A voice crackled through. Target, in range. But before they could fire, a blue pulse shot from the truck and hit the ship. The reclaimer vessel shuddered, lost power, and crashed into a factory wall nearby. Jarek stared in disbelief. Riven looked at her hands. I didn't know. I could do that, she said, breathless. He grinned. You're full of surprises. She laughed for the first time. But far above, on a moon base orbiting the planet, a dark figure stood before a screen. "She remembers," said a cloaked figure. "The vault is reactivating." A second figure nodded. "Send the Inquisitors. The girl cannot be allowed to awaken fully." The truck sped across the rocky wastelands, leaving the broken city far behind. Dust blew in the air. The sky turned red with the setting sun, but inside the truck it was quiet. Riven, now remembering she was once called Vera Len, sat beside Jarek, silent, holding her arms tightly. Not because she was cold, but because the memories were coming back, and they hurt. She looked out the window, but she didn't really see the land. She saw flashes, pieces, a silver hall, a tall alien woman smiling, her hand being held by a man with golden armor, a warm voice whispering her name, Vera, and then, screaming. Fire. The feeling of being pulled away. Jarek finally spoke. "Are you okay?" She nodded slowly but then shook her head. "No." He waited. She turned to him. "I remember now. Where I came from." Jarek leaned forward. "Tell me." Riven, Vera, took a deep breath. "I was born in the House of Len, one of the ancient ruling families. When war broke out, the ruling houses were hunted. I was just a child. My parents, they made a choice." Jarek listened closely. "They placed the memory vault in me, locked it inside my mind. I became the key. But to protect me, they wiped everything." Her eyes filled with tears. "They erased me." Silence fell. Jarek placed his hand gently over hers. "You're still you," he said. "You survived all of that. You're stronger than what they tried to take." She stared at him. "I'm not just a girl who was used and sold," she said. "I'm a vault, a tool, a royal, and I don't know who to be anymore." "You be the one you choose to be," he said. Suddenly the truck slammed to a stop. The driver screamed, "Something's in the road." Jarek jumped out, blaster ready. Strange shape stood in front of them, tall, cloaked in black with no face. Then another appeared. And another. Inquisitors. They didn't speak. They didn't need to. They were sent to extract the vault, no matter what it cost. Riven stepped out, feeling the pressure rise in her chest. Her hands began to glow again. The Inquisitors raised their arms, long, sharp devices locked onto her. Jarek fired first. The shot hit, but it passed through one of them like smoke. "They're not solid," he shouted. Riven closed her eyes. "Then maybe I don't need to be either." She took a breath, and her body lit up with soft blue fire. The Inquisitors attacked. Riven moved without thinking. Her body reacted, like it remembered before her mind did. She blocked one strike with a wave of energy. She jumped, spun, struck the ground, and sent a shockwave through the sand. Jarek shielded himself, eyes wide. "How are you doing that?" She didn't answer. Her power was guiding her hands. But the Inquisitors didn't stop. One touched her arm, and suddenly, pain shot through her body. A voice echoed in her head. "You were never meant to live free. You are a vault, nothing more." She screamed and fell to her knees. Jarek ran forward and grabbed her. "Let her go," he shouted. The Inquisitor raised a blade-like hand, but Jarek fired again. This time, the shot hit a weak point. The creature hissed and vanished into dust. Riven coughed, shaking. Her eyes were glassy. "They're not just trying to take the vault," she whispered. "They're trying to break me. From the inside." Jarek held her tighter. "Then let's remind them. You're unbreakable." They ran. The truck was too damaged to continue, so they headed for a canyon, twisting paths and caves that could hide them. But as they ran, Riven slowed down. "Wait." Jarek turned. "What is it?" She looked at the stones, her hand brushing across an old metal wall. "I've been here before." They entered a small cave. Inside, old symbols lined the walls. A name was carved in glowing light. Vera Len, guardian of the memory. Jarek whispered, "What is this place?" Riven walked to the center, touching a smooth silver stone. Suddenly, light exploded from it and a vision appeared. A hologram of her mother, the same face from her memories. Vera, if you are seeing this, then you've survived. The vault is waking. You must decide, protect the galaxy's truth, or destroy it forever. Riven's hands trembled. The truth is inside me. Jarek stepped closer. Then let's find it. Together. Outside the cave, the Inquisitors waited, watching, listening. They didn't attack. Not yet. They were waiting for her to make a choice. End of Part 5. Continue to Part 6. The price on her head. Ready for Part 6? The truth of what the memory vault holds will change everything, and the bounty on Riven's life will rise across galaxies. Shall I begin? You said. Start with, Part 6 more unique. ChatGPT said. Part 6, the price on her head. HFY Sci-Fi, third person, 800 words, simple basic English. The cave was quiet now. The glowing light from the memory stone faded. Only a soft hum remained in the air, like a forgotten song still playing. Riven, no, Vera Len, stood frozen. Her mother's message echoed in her mind. The vault inside you holds the truth. The war was built on lies. If the truth is known, everything will change. Vera touched her chest right over her heart. That's where it was, hidden inside her mind. Buried memories, lost data, secrets worth killing for. She finally understood why so many wanted her back. Not for who she was, but for what she carried. Jarek stayed quiet, letting her breathe. He had never seen her like this before, glowing softly with power but shaking inside. You okay? He asked gently. She turned to him. Her voice was low. No, but I will be. Far above the planet, in a grand warship, news of Vera Len's return spread like wildfire. On a giant screen, a picture of her face blinked in red. Wanted, Vera Len reward, 5 million credits alive only. Bounty hunters, mercenaries, and rogue soldiers across the galaxy saw the alert. Some laughed, some loaded their weapons, some just whispered, "She's still alive?" They didn't care about the truth. They cared about the price. Back on the planet, Vera and Jarek moved through the canyon paths. They needed transport. A way off world. Somewhere safe, if such a place existed. But everywhere they went, eyes followed. Even in the shadows, people began to recognize her. She's the girl from the bounty net. That's the vault host. That human's protecting her. Jarek noticed it first. A group of men were watching from across the marketplace. One touched his comm. Another checked his blaster. We need to leave, Jarek whispered. But it was too late. The bounty hunters struck fast. A net flew through the air, meant to trap Vera. She dodged. A blaster fired. Jarek pulled her behind a crate. We can't fight all of them. Vera gritted her teeth. Then we don't fight. We run. They dashed through the market. People screamed. Merchants ducked. Explosions lit the sky as others joined the chase. They weren't soldiers. They were worse. Desperate hunters chasing a living fortune. As they reached the end of the street, a large hovercraft blocked their path. A man stepped down from it, tall, clean-cut, with a sharp suit and a cruel smile. I was hoping to find you first, he said. I like finishing things myself. Who are you? Vera asked, standing tall. I'm the buyer, he said simply. The one who owns the bounty. You see, I don't just want the vault. I want to break you open myself. Jarek raised his gun. The man laughed. Shoot if you want. You'll be dead before you reload. Dozens of hunters stepped out from behind crates, walls, roofs. They were surrounded. Vera felt fear rise, but also something else. Power. She had run long enough, hidden long enough. This time she chose to stand. I'm not a tool, she said, and I'm not for sale. The man stepped forward. Then give me the vault. Vera's eyes glowed. No. She raised her hand and a wave of energy blasted outward. The ground cracked. Hunters flew back. Crates exploded. Jarek shielded his eyes as blue light burst around her. Vera floated off the ground for just a second, her body pulsing with awakened memory and fire. When she landed, the bounty hunters were scattered and silent. The leader tried to run, but Jarek hit him with the butt of his gun. Hard. They ran again. But this time people didn't just chase them. Some stepped aside. Some even helped. An old alien vendor pointed to a hidden path. A child pulled them behind a curtain. A street pilot offered a ride. "She's not just a vault," someone whispered. "She's the key to everything." The truth was spreading. Vera was becoming more than a bounty. She was becoming hope. On a warship far away, a high-ranking general stared at a screen. "She's gaining support," he said, angry. "We must end this before she remembers the final truth." A cloaked figure stepped into view. "She will remember, and when she does," the general hissed, "we'll all burn." The stolen sky cruiser shook as it climbed through the clouds. Vera stood near the edge of the deck, wind in her hair, stars ahead. Behind her, smoke rose from the planet she once feared. Below her, old chains had been broken. And inside her, the vault was fully awake, not just data, memories, visions, truths, her past, and the galaxy's biggest lie. Jarek stepped beside her, steadying himself as the cruiser tilted. "You're sure?" he asked. Vera nodded slowly. "I know where we need to go." To end this, she looked at him, to begin something new. Far above, a massive fleet waited in orbit. Black ships, red lights, dozens of them. At their center floated a fortress ship, known as the Silence. It was where the war had started, where her family had been betrayed, and where the vault had been sealed inside her. Now she was returning, not as a prisoner, but as the key. Inside the Silence, alarms rang. "She's coming," an officer said, fear in his voice. The Supreme Chancellor stood still, watching a screen that showed Vera's ship rising fast. "So, the vault walks willingly into the fire," he said. "How poetic." "She has powers now," another whispered. "She's not the same girl." The Chancellor smiled coldly. "No, she's a storm, and storms can be drowned." Vera and Jarek entered the fortress silently. No disguise, no tricks. Just the two of them, and the weight of history. They passed halls once full of kings and commanders. Now only shadows remained. Vera's steps echoed. "She's here," voices whispered from the dark. She lived, and then the Chancellor appeared, tall, calm, wearing a robe stitched with old family crests, including hers. He clapped slowly. "Vera Len, finally found your way home." She stood firm. "This was never my home." "No?" he asked. "You were born in gold, wrapped in silk, loved by all, until your parents chose secrets over safety." Vera's eyes narrowed. "They chose truth over lies." The Chancellor stepped forward. "You still don't understand, do you? The war ended because we buried the truth. If the vault opens, everything burns." "Then let it burn," Vera said. She reached into herself, not with her hands, but with her mind, and the vault responded. Light exploded across the chamber. The floor lit up with ancient symbols. The walls shimmered. Data floated in the air like glowing dust. Holograms, images, proof. Planets bombed not by enemies, but by their own leaders. Treaties betrayed. Civilizations erased for control, and one name whispered through it all. Chancellor Drenvos, the man standing before her. He hissed, "Shut it down." "I can't," Vera said. "It belongs to everyone now." The truth flooded the galaxy. Screens, across ships, planets, cities, showing what had been hidden. Crowds screamed. Soldiers dropped weapons. Leaders panicked. The Chancellor roared and rushed at her, blade in hand. Jarek stepped in front, but Vera raised her palm. A burst of power stopped the Chancellor mid-strike. He dropped to the floor unconscious. The silence that followed was heavy. She could feel the galaxy breathing for the first time. Jarek looked at her. "It's done." "No," Vera said softly. "It's just begun." She turned to him. "You gave me freedom when I didn't even know I wanted it. You gave me a name when I had none, a home when I was lost." He smiled. "You never needed me. You were always strong." She shook her head. "No, I was alone, and I don't want to be alone anymore." Later, as their ship floated under a new sun, Vera sat beside Jarek, watching the stars. "They tried to own me," she said. "Tried to break me. Tried to turn me into a vault, a tool, a prize." She turned to him. "But I belong to no one." He nodded. "And yet," she added with a smile, "I choose to stay with you." Jarek took her hand. Not as a hero, not as a savior, but as an equal. Somewhere across the stars, the people spoke her name. Not as a missing royal, not as a vault, but as the girl who chose freedom over fear, as the woman who made the galaxy remember, as the one who belonged to no one, but gave herself to love.